Coming to you live from the palatial studios of PBJ Productions. Welcome to Patrick and BJ Talk Real Estate, where we talk about life, the universe, and everything as it relates to real estate. Hey everybody, it's BJ.
And Patrick.
And we're back talking about what's going on in the world of real estate. And today we were just talking about this, the federal government just did something.
Yeah, well, they announced it in June.
Yeah.
That there's a federal or nationwide 2-year foreign buyer ban on residential properties.
Yeah.
Right, but this doesn't come into effect until January 1st of 2023.
Right. So, you know, the big thing about that is when you have federal legislation passed, especially in such a big country,
yeah,
it's maybe relevant for some parts and not relevant for other parts. In Victoria, our foreign buyer market is what, 1%?
It's about 1%.
1%.
That's right. And then typically, you won't find the foreign buyer buying like the average condo or the average house.
Right.
It's typically at the higher end in the luxury market.
Sure.
Yeah. Not to say that there isn't exceptions,
Yeah.
but that's where you'll most likely find them.
Yeah. Okay, we're done. No, I'm kidding. I mean, that's really that's it in a nutshell, right?
Right, but if we expand the radar a little bit more and we look at Vancouver Lower Mainland,
Yeah.
the only numbers I've seen reported is foreign buyers might be between 2 and 3%.
Sure.
So it's like it's not going to overall affect that market either. But the politicians have always blamed things that they always highlight things that actually don't affect our supply or our affordability.
Sure.
None of those things.
I guess here's the thing, is we don't want, and you know, we do this in life, at least I do this in life, is where, you know, we don't want to mistake motion for progress. And I think that's what we have here. There's motion, right? They're doing something. The government's doing something.
They're doing something, yep. At least they're doing something.
But is it progress? Is it actually getting to what we need to get at if we're talking about affordability and availability of housing?
Well, maybe we should talk more about BC. Like BC, we already have a 20% tax for foreign buyers,
Right.
and there's some exceptions around that as well. But then there's exceptions around this federal, national foreign buyer ban.
Right.
So it's only excluding residential properties.
Right.
You can still buy a recreational property.
Okay.
There's going to be some exceptions that I don't remember.
Okay.
If you have a kid in school here,
Yeah.
you're not a citizen, you're not a permanent resident, you have a kid going to University of Victoria, University of British Columbia.
Sure.
You can buy property through their name. And there's a couple other exceptions that are sort of like, well, wait a minute. First, it's only affecting, well, Victoria, let's say 1% of our sales.
Yeah.
So maybe now it's going to affect 0.25% of our sales. Like, you know, it's going to reduce the amount of foreign purchases, but it doesn't
Sure.
eliminate them. You can still buy commercial property.
Right.
You can still buy other property, multifamily properties, right? I think it's like once it's past maybe 3 units.
Okay.
Not a house with a non-conforming and they have 3 suites in the building. No, that's not what I mean. But if it's like a legal 4-plex, 5-plex,
Right.
I don't think there's a restriction for that. So, but that's still essentially a
Yeah.
residential property
Yeah.
occupied by, you know, either tenants
Sure.
or family,
Right.
possibly.
Sure.
So that's kind of it. There still seems to be enough exceptions that it's not going to make much impact.
Yeah.
But what does it say about Canada to say that?
Well, it's just that we don't. Who realistically? Okay, let's just be realistic.
Yeah.
Who wants to live in Canada outside of, let's say, the island here or the Lower Mainland in the middle of winter?
Well, it's an interesting scenario. I guess it all depends on where you're coming from and
Yes.
what you see. Like maybe in the dead of winter in Winnipeg. Sorry, everybody from Winnipeg. They know it, right? It's cold
sure.
there.
Yeah.
But like maybe the family, the opportunity, there's probably still reasons even with that.
Hey,
right?
you know,
I know what you mean.
Hey, I'm an immigrant, right?
Yeah.
We moved to Canada when I was 4 or 5 years old, and moved to Grand Prairie in the middle of winter, of all places. From
Right.
India.
So you're speaking from experience. Oh yeah, it's a little bit warmer there.
You think?
I've never been, but yeah.
Yeah, right? I've been back several times. Yes, it's warmer there, but in the middle of winter, we're in Grand Prairie. And I don't remember the rest of that, but essentially I grew up in Edmonton. I grew up in the prairies. I grew up in winter.
Yeah.
And so, yeah, let's just say realistically, what does that say about Canada? Generally speaking, I know there are exceptions. I know this is not everybody, but people who are foreign investors or buyers that are looking for higher end properties are looking in Toronto, maybe Ottawa, Vancouver Island.
Yeah, that makes a lot of sense.
Quebec, Montreal, maybe.
Calgary. A lot of corporate head offices are there.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
It's sort of a transportation hub.
Yeah.
So that's why I say it.
Yeah. Well, this is the growing up in Edmonton part of me when the word Calgary.
But all of this doesn't it's not going to stop. It's not going to solve anything, because if we have our current federal government wants 450,500 immigrants come to Canada anyways.
Right.
And that's great news, new Canadians, that's awesome.
Right.
But it puts a huge strain on all of the housing, starting with the major hubs.
Certainly.
That's Vancouver and Toronto to start off with.
Yeah.
And then people spread out from there, right?
Yeah.
They come to Canada first there.
Right.
So really, after a year, you get your permanent residence, and then you're not banned anymore.
Yeah.
You still have the ability to avoid. You become exempt from in BC, the 20% foreign buyer tax,
Right.
and then you're a permanent resident, and this foreign buyer thing doesn't apply to you anymore.
Sure.
So 2 years, and you wait 1 year to avoid.
Yeah.
Or become exempt from all these restrictions.
Right. And I think you've got the issue where, they think that this is somehow going to affect whatever you want to say, what's going on with the housing issue in Canada as a whole. I can't speak to, Toronto or anything like that, but I can speak to the island and speak to Victoria. We're talking about 1% or less than 1%. So it's not really going to have any effect on, our market.
But I don't think it's going to do anything.
Right?
Yeah, especially Victoria and Vancouver Island.
But yeah, what can I say out of all of that is motion is not always progress.
Most of our sales that come from outside of the Victoria area, the next biggest market that affects our market is people moving from somewhere else on the island to Victoria.
Okay, yeah.
The next greatest area, number of or percentage wise, buyers are coming from Vancouver and the Lower Mainland.
Right.
Then it's the rest of BC.
Yeah.
And then progressively smaller, Alberta.
Yeah.
Because we always talk about Albertans, they're going to retire here, the mountains, the ocean.
Yeah.
They dream about it. And then after that, count the rest of Canada is a small percentage of our sales here.
Right.
And then foreign buyers, 1%, including US citizens.
Right.
So,
Yeah.
let alone somebody that's overseas, it's the number's even smaller than that, right?
Yeah. Yeah. So,
we don't think it's going to do anything.
yeah, how's that? That's
Pretty much, right?
That's the synopsis. Yeah.
Yeah.
It is what it is. It's there. It's going to be around for a couple of years at least. That's what we've been told.
That's what we've been told. Yeah.
But we don't really see that it's going to do anything in terms of the market. So, yeah. Well, you know what? Thanks for watching. I mean, that's kind of it is what it is. But thanks for watching. If you haven't, please subscribe to our channel. And please like the video. That helps us with just getting the videos out there. And as we've been saying, we're regularly posting content to just keep you informed. And sometimes we're just going to talk about fun stuff, like we talked the one time about what's going on in Victoria at Christmas and what do we like to do and things like that. So we're going to do those things too. But please subscribe so you don't miss anything. And if you have any questions, feel free to comment or reach out to us directly. We're happy to help.
Absolutely. Thank you guys for watching, and we'll see you in the next video.
See ya.